They don't stay broke because they weren't born into wealth. They stay broke because they were born into doubt, into a world that whispers, that dream is too big, into families that say, play it safe, into schools that never once taught them how to believe, only how to obey. Most people stay broke not because they lack money, but because they lack the mindset that creates it. They spend their lives working for a paycheck, but never once work on the mind that cashes it. They look for opportunities, but they never train their eyes to see them. They chase money, but run from responsibility. They admire wealth, but hate the discipline it demands. Let me tell you something hard. It's not the economy. It's not your job. It's not your boss, your government, your past, or your parents. It's your pattern. It's what you do every day without thinking. It's the rituals of avoidance, the habits of procrastination, the silent agreement with comfort and fear. You want to know why most people stay broke? Because the moment things get hard, they retreat. The moment it gets boring, they quit. The moment someone tells them no, they believe it. But the truth is this: wealth isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. You become wealthy by becoming valuable. You become valuable by becoming disciplined. You become disciplined by confronting every part of you that wants to stay small. This world doesn't reward intention. It rewards execution. It doesn't pay you for wanting more. It pays you for becoming more, and becoming more starts with doing what most won't do. Waking up early when no one sees you, reading when others scroll, investing when others consume, disciplining your thoughts when your emotions scream otherwise. This is why most people stay broke, because they live in reaction, not creation. They wait for permission, not realization. They fear failure more than they crave success. But here's the twist. It's not that they lack desire, it's that their desire is weak. It gets bullied by their excuses, crushed by their comfort zone, outweighed by their addiction to distraction. They say they want wealth, but they worship the weekend. They dream of success while running from discomfort. They romanticize abundance, but panic when asked to invest. They want the mountain, but refuse the climb. They want results, but mock the repetition. They scroll through highlight reels, then wonder why their life feels average. Most people stay broke because they build their identity around limitation. They say, I'm just not good with money. I'm not a business person. I could never do that. As if their words weren't casting spells on their future. Let me tell you the truth. Every broke life you see, it didn't begin with a bad decision. It began with a belief. A subtle, invisible contract that said, I'm meant to struggle. I'm not one of them. I don't deserve that. And that belief, it becomes routine. They start budgeting their dreams instead of expanding their mindset. They avoid the mirror because deep down they know. They haven't faced themselves, but wealth, true, soul-level wealth, begins within. It begins with confronting the parts of you that keep choosing survival over creation. This world is not short on money. It is short on people willing to master themselves. The broke stay broke because when fear knocks, they answer. Because when opportunity whispers, they're too distracted to listen. Because they measure their future by their past. And they keep dragging their history into their destiny. Do you know what separates the few who rise? It's not luck. It's not connections. It's not even talent. It's decision. The decision to do the work when no one applauds. The decision to keep going when logic says stop. The decision to upgrade their habits before their lifestyle. Wealth is not a number. It's not a car. It's not a house. It's a way of thinking, a way of being. A relentless choice over and over again to rise when most people rest. Most people stay broke not because they're weak, but because they never stayed long enough in the fire to become strong. Most people stay broke because they want wealth, but they still think like employees. They trade their time for pennies and then waste those pennies on moments that numb their discomfort. They were taught to seek security, not sovereignty, to follow paths paved by the average, not to carve trails through mountains. They fear judgment more than poverty. They crave validation more than freedom. They obey comfort like it's a god and betray their potential like it's disposable. They forget that every dollar earned in alignment is a receipt of courage. Every business built from scratch is a war against mediocrity. Every investment in self is a brick laid toward an empire. But most won't choose that path. They'll say, it's not the right time. Or maybe next year, not realizing time is the most expensive currency they waste. Let me be clear. You do not rise by chance. You rise by choosing discipline over drama, clarity over chaos, creation overconsumption. What do broke minds do? They consume, scroll, doubt, wait, buy things they can't afford to impress people they don't even like. But what do wealthy minds do? They build, they serve, they invest, they focus, they learn. They move with urgency like life is a countdown because it is. Wealthy minds treat every sunrise as a transaction. I give today my full attention. In return, I grow stronger. Broke minds treat each day as a chore. I just need to get through it. That is the poverty mindset. Survive the day. Repeat the cycle. Die with regrets. But you are not here for that. You were not born to be a spectator in your own life. You were not born to shrink, to stall, to fit in. You were born to wake up, to unlearn everything that taught you to play small and move like a force too powerful to be ignored. So if you're tired of being broke in your bank, in your mind, in your soul, you must stop negotiating with the habits that built that prison. You don't need another tip. You need a standard so high poverty gets suffocated in your presence. Most people stay broke because they wait for external permission to make internal transformation. But those who rise, they authorize themselves. You want to stop being broke? Then you need to break the thought patterns that worship limitation. Break the behaviors that serve your fear. Break the agreements you made with mediocrity without even realizing it. Burn the blueprint they gave you. The one that said, go to school, get a job, play it safe, be realistic. Don't dream too big. Don't make too much noise. That blueprint was designed for control, not greatness. If you want wealth, then build a mind that refuses excuses, that laughs in the face of rejection, that finds power in persistence, not permission. You don't need a lottery ticket. You don't need a savior. You don't need a secret hack or one lucky break. You need to become the person who would never stay broke again, the one who shows up earlier, stays later, learns faster, fails forward, and repeats until there's no version of you left that knows how to quit. Most people will never get rich, not because they lack resources, but because they lack relentless resolve, the resolve to say, I don't care how long it takes. I don't care who doubts me. I don't care if I start with nothing. I will not die average. That fire, that hunger, that unwavering obsession to become unbreakable, that's what separates the legends from the forgotten. So, if you want to rewrite your financial reality, don't just wish for wealth. Transform into the kind of person who cannot be poor because their value becomes undeniable, because their energy becomes magnetic, because their discipline becomes sacred, because their belief becomes so powerful that the world has no choice but to respond. Most people stay broke, but you were never meant to be most people. Now prove it.